What's going on, everybody? My weekly garden update. As you can see, my carrots look like they've grown a little bit more over the past week. And if I check to see if there's any carrots in here, see if I can just pull one of them up to thin them out, you can tell that there are carrots growing in here. So I may have to wait a little bit longer to see if my carrots will get any size, but as you can see, the carrots are still growing in here and they haven't been affected by pests as much. So I'm hoping that I actually have some carrots to harvest. My tomato still growing pretty strong. Still got some flowers coming up on them on certain parts. I'm still a little worried at the fact that it's pretty much mislabeled and it's still got suckers growing on them, as you can see with one of them right there. So I'm hoping that isn't the case. I took up the spinach. If you saw my spinach harvest, this is the galvanized tub it was in. I completely took them up and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to be planting here. I think it might be time to harvest my dill. As you can see, it's gotten pretty big. So I'm going to have to see if I could try to find some pickling cucumbers and start pickling, using the dill to pickle the cucumbers. With my beets, you saw last week that I harvest them. I got one tub that's vacant and another tub that has a pepper plant in it. So like with this galvanized tub, I'm gonna have to find out what I want to plant in this one. Also, I have my other pepper plants that's doing pretty good. They're still hanging in there. Hopefully I actually have something out of them this year. Swiss chard has gotten pretty big. I'm gonna have to start harvesting them before something happens to them. My one and only collard green I eventually took up, and I'm gonna have to find what I'm going to be planting here. My two tomato plants got tomatoes all on them now, but the plant looked like this. It's a little sickly. I think it's because of the continuous days of rain that we had over the week that it looks like this, and I wasn't able to feed it like I want to. So I'm going to eventually get to feeding the tomato plants a little bit more. So let's go out to that garden plot. With the continuous days of rain that we had over the past week, I wasn't able to really do any actual work into the plot. But what work I did do, I worked around the tomatoes. And I'll give you a close-up eventually, but I think I have a better idea with the peppers. I think with the peppers, I might transplant them from ground into the containers. That way I can actually pretty much cover the rest of the plot with some sort of mulch. The first thing I'm gonna have to do is get some insecticide for fire ants, because there's a couple of fire ant hills in the plot. Try to prevent fire ants from making colonies under the mulch. But looking at some of the pepper plants, they got flowers on them already, and more likely probably has some peppers coming. So I'll see what I have to do with the peppers, because I don't think I want to deal with any more grass than I have to. The tomatoes, as you can see, are growing really good. They're coming out the top of the cages, but still don't have no tomatoes on them yet. Like I said, with the continuous days of rain, I wasn't able to work out here, but yesterday I was able to come out and work out here. And this is probably the only part of the plot I'm going to focus on throughout the summer, while the rest of it will be covered with mulch, and hopefully I actually have something out of the tomato plants that's in ground this year. Unfortunately, there will not be a last harvest of my kale. As I said, with the continuous days of rain, the worms pretty much took over. And it's not the regular green worms that I usually find in the early spring. These worms are a little different. I don't even know if I can find one of them, but you can see the telltale signs of worm presence by the droppings. So sometime this week, this bed or box will probably be cleared out, and I might experiment in planting beans in this bed. So if you like what you see, leave a like. Have questions, comments, leave it in the comment section. That's it for now. Happy gardening.